Hello YouTubes, only me. Joe, I do like this little front screen. Ah, fuck it. Joe, I've just realised I've done a whole video just now, and guess what? Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. I thought that screen was a bit dark. What a fucking bell end. Let's chuck that in the pocket. I left the screen cover on, eh? Schoolboy error. But you know what? Life's too short to worry about that. Hey, life is too short to worry about that. Right, out for a little ride. And today, where am I going? Oh, I am turning this way towards selling. Not selling this thing of beauty, 250RS. I thought I'd talk about sunnier times. I was going to chat about a trip I did last summer. Was it last summer? It might have been. Actually, no, it's the summer before. Last summer we went to Europe. Summer before with some very good old friends of mine, John and Simon. We had a week away in Scotland, and I was on the multi-strada. Simon was on his Kawasaki ZX7R, and this was a bike that basically was not dumped, that's the wrong word, was stored, should we call it stored, at his house in France for about 10 years. When that house was sold, it was brought back to the UK, and you can imagine what 10 years does to a bike. The chain was pretty much rusted solid, the both tyres were flat, and I mean proper flat. They actually had flats in them when we tried to pump them up. You know, it'd be like riding a 50p piece. If you're not from England, that's a coin that's got, how many sides has that got? 7 sides? 5 sides? I can't remember. Anyway, you get the idea. Yeah, and we it was one of those, I can't remember how the idea of the trip started, but going back, John was on, he was on a multitude of bikes. He was on a Ducati ST2, which is oh, this is mucky, which is the world's ugliest motorcycle, designed by Italians. Ducati, what were you thinking? Designed some stunning bikes, and then they come out with the ST2, and I have one. A very capable bike, lovely bike to ride, but fuck, it's ugly. You know, when you go past you're riding down the high street, you go past a big shop window, you know, like the old Woolworths or something like that, and you just have that cheeky little look sideways, think, fuck me, I look good. Yeah, you didn't do that on the ST2, because it was fucking horrible. Anyway, I digress. Oh, mine was green, by the way, even worse. Can you imagine that? Yeah, it wasn't a factory colour, it was a Triumph colour. Someone thought it was a good idea to paint it green. Fuck me. Anyway, but yeah, I can't remember why we were at Simon's. I think it might have been from one of his party barbecues. And on the Sunday before I came home, I went, fuck it, let's drag that out of the garage. And not only did we drag it out, we got it started, unbelievably, and he managed to ride it down to the end of his lane and back. And over the next few months, I popped up there and we did stuff like strip the brakes out. He lives Worcestershire. Strip the brake calipers out, put a new seal kit in and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, that was the bike he took to Scotland. Didn't miss a beat. Yeah, lovely old bike that. John was on his Ducati ST2, which got about 2 miles away before the rear brake seized on, and we managed to get that back to his house. He then swapped to an old 900 SS that he's got, and that was the bike he used for the whole trip. Funny enough, the rear brake seized on that as well, and we found out later that he had adjusted the free play on both bikes, and had obviously over adjusted it and closed the relief valve that obviously lets the fluid back into the master cylinder. Very common thing on Ducatis, they're quite sensitive to that. It's very easy to do, I've seen it before. But yeah, I rode the multi-strada to Worcestershire from Kent, met up with Simon, stayed at his place the night. Following day we rode up to Cumbria, where John lives, who, if you saw the journey or the trip of me, or the story of me collecting this thing of beauty, it was both of those guys that helped me out, that I stayed with, to collect it from Cumbria and then rode back via Worcestershire. So yeah, 2 very good old friends. What are we we've got to give way. We are turning left. Yeah, up to Johnston Night, Cumbria, and then off to start sort of the west part, I guess, of the NC500. But we didn't want to do the whole NC500. I've never done it before, but you do hear tales of it's either brilliant or it's full of people in camper vans. So if you have done it, let me know your thoughts. But we basically went up. We had hotels each night. Tile Bend, look at this. We spent 2 days on the Isle of Mull, which was lovely. Isle of Mull, lovely place if you get a chance to go up there. All little single lane tracks, so if you're going to go in a camper van, don't. Or say don't, just do, but be prepared to reverse or use the parking places that they have every... Jesus, she was right on the wrong side of the road. I don't know if that came out on the camera, it probably didn't, but she was completely on the wrong side of the road. That's why you should always look ahead, people, just to keep an idea of what's coming. Thank you. But yeah, we did the Green Welly, the big cafe that's famous for bikers. That was heaving on the way up. Isle of Mull. We did a trip to we stayed in Tobermory. We stayed at the Mishnish pub, which is, if you look at the seafront of Tobermory, all the places are different colours, all painted different colours. It's yellow. It's a yellow building near the ferry terminal. Don't know why they let me past. Thank you. And it's basically rooms above a pub. Pub has live music, lots of beer, food. Cracking place if you're on the Isle of Mull. Mishnish, Tobermory. And there's even a curry house just down the road, which was good as well, down towards the distillery. The distillery is a walk-in distance from there. And we went for a distillery trip where they obviously give you some samples to taste, and they give you 6 samples. They give you 3 of their sort of normal blends, and then the 3 that are more peaty. I'm not a real peaty whiskey person, but the rest of them were lovely. And they teach you how to add water, literally with a dropper, where you drips into it, and you wouldn't believe sort of 5 droplets of water makes such a difference to the Scotch whiskey, whatever you want to call it. But the measures they gave you were, should we say, generous. Where am I turning? I'm turning right. They were very generous. To the point where after we'd had our 6 samples, this was lunchtime, after we'd had our 6 samples, we sort of wandered out. So nice. We wandered out of the distillery, and I think I sort of went, should we go to the pub? And there was a pause, and then I can't remember if it was John or Simon said, no, should we go for a bit of a walk first? And then we all agreed that was probably a good idea, because we were all just a little bit tipsy, and considering it was lunchtime, yeah, so we went for a walk, found what was supposed to be a waterfall. Bit of a disappointment. If you go to the Isle of Mull, if you've got spare time, go for a walk and see the waterfall, but if you haven't got time, don't bother. Yeah, not worth it. And then we went for a ride around, went and visited a castle. Is it Jewett Castle? They filmed a film there. Can't remember what the film was called. Right, I'm coming back now. I'm back down towards the Stag, which I passed earlier. But yeah, Jewett Castle. And then where did we go? We caught a ferry back to the mainland. We then went to Ardnamurchan Point, because we wanted to go at the most westerly point in the United Kingdom. No, sorry, it was westerly point in the mainland, obviously Northern Ireland, most westerly point in the mainland. And there's a lighthouse there with a fucking great foghorn, and it was really quiet. There's a cafe and a lot of people. We could see a lot of people milling around a few hundred metres from us. So I thought, right, I'm going to be the most westerly person on the mainland as of that moment. So I literally got to the lighthouse, scrambled down some rocks, and I literally got to the edge of the water to dip my toe into the water. So at that point I was the most westerly person in the mainland UK, except for the fact that I wasn't, because when we then rode on next night, stopped, someone looked on the phone, looked at their maps and found out that the big group of people that we could see milling around the distance who wondered, I wonder what they're doing. They were actually going to visit the most westerly point, which wasn't where we were. Yeah, so that then started a bit of a trend of most westerly point jokes, and I took a photo of myself at the most westerly point and someone put not the most westerly point on the photo, which gave us all a bit of a chuckle. But yeah, Ardnamurchan Point, that's worth a little detour, little single track road to it again. Then we stayed, we went to Dalwhinnie. That was another distillery visit. Another very interesting place to view. Not as generous measures as at Tobermory, but still very nice drink. And we stayed at the youth hostel, which was walking distance, because obviously if you're going to do a distillery visit, you want to be walking there, you want to be walking back to wherever you're staying for the night, because there's nowhere on earth you're getting back on a motorcycle unless you are fucking stupid, or a car or anything like that. So yeah, we walked there and had a few drinks, had a bit of a tour, very interesting. And there was a place just over the road from the youth hostel that was near the train station at Dalwhinnie that did sort of reasonable food, I suppose, but that was a bit of a quiet night. We then went back to the youth hostel and just chilled out for the rest of the day. And I think the following day, what did we do? Fort William? Yeah, we did a bit of Loch Ness, rode a lot of the length of Loch Ness, probably out of sequence, but we went to the Commando Memorial at Spain Bridge. We went and visited that, which is a very good place. I've got a couple of friends who are ex-royals and took a few snaps for them. Obviously they've both been there anyway, of course they have, but took a few snaps. There's a garden of remembrance where you can have your, obviously you've got to be I would guess you have to be a Royal Marine, or previously serving Royal Marine. I wasn't, I was infantry, but previously serving Royal Marine. You can have your ashes scattered there, which is, well, what a fucking lovely thing, you know, to the last resting place of your remains with old comrades. Yeah, very nice. Spent quite a nice evening in Fort William, and then we rode back the following day. And I got on one of those, I don't know if you've ever been on a Euro journey. We did it coming back from Italy where we rode back in one hit, but you just get on one, you think, oh, I'm just going to keep riding. So we rode back to Penrith, and I said to lads, instead of staying the night, I said to lads, you know what, I'm going to ride home. So I rode home. It was 16 miles door to door that day on the multi-strider, and I got home at like 10:30 at night. But I was just on one, and I just stuck my tunes in my ear, listened to the music, and just rode home. And that was a really nice ride, to be honest with you. But yeah, Scotland, well worth a trip, and those places I've mentioned are well worth visiting. So if you got this far in the video, thank you very much. And if you've got any questions about that part of the trip, then let me know, and obviously I can recommend a bit of the accommodation. Every place we stayed was great, and no issues at all with that. So if you do want some advice on accommodation, then let me know. Yeah. And back to the Stag for another cheeky look in the car park. Let's have a look and see if they've got anything more interesting. No, they haven't. It's the wrong sort of time of day to be having loads of supercars, apart from the old GR Yaris over there, which belongs to one of the owners. Right, happy days YouTubes. I've not quite finished my ride. Why is it taking me? Oh, it's going to take me around the loop because it doesn't know I've turned around. But yeah, happy days YouTubes if you got this far watching this. Nice to chat to you as usual, and stay safe, ride safe, and I'll see you in the next episode of RS'ing About. Take care.